So let us commence with our tips and the show. Bring on today's first guest, Ed Hawkins at Cricket Betting. Hello.
Hello, Natalie.
How are you?
I'm very well. You?
Very good. Thank you very much. Yes. All right. So I've got some questions here. We're going to fire away because time is short, as they say. First of all, how big of an impact is the rain going to have on which teams make it through to the semi-finals? We seem to be having a lot of rain at the moment.
Yeah, amazingly, it's raining in an English summer. So Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka was washed out today, and a lot of people are getting their knickers in a twist about it because there should be reserved days for these matches. But in terms of a semi-final berth, I don't think Bangladesh and Sri Lanka not playing a match is going to have an impact. The big sort of loser so far from a washout is Pakistan, and their game against Sri Lanka was washed out a few days ago, and that is terribly bad news for Pakistan because they're really sort of vying for that final fourth spot to make it through to the semi-finals, and they desperately needed that game against Sri Lanka to go ahead because it was a gimme, really. I know a lot of people talk about Pakistan being an unreliable team, and you often can't trust them when they're going off at short odds. But Sri Lanka is such a poor team that I couldn't have seen Pakistan not winning that game. So they were denied basically the full 2 points, and those full 2 points, their rivals for a semi-finals berth will probably get against Sri Lanka. So they're behind the 8 ball, Pakistan. So as it stands at the moment, I can't see much past India, England, New Zealand and Australia for the semi-finals. Pakistan and Australia are probably vying for that final spot, I think, in terms of ability and balance in this World Cup. So that washout against Sri Lanka, I think, is going to cost Pakistan, which is a great shame.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a record number there of cancellations due to the rain. Interesting stuff. Now, do you think India can maintain their winning streak when they face in-form New Zealand?
Well, they've gone off like a rocket, and they have looked a powerful, streamlined unit, although they've had a blow in the last 24 hours, losing Shikhar Dhawan with a hairline fracture of his thumb, and that upsets them because their top three is extremely settled, a very powerful unit, and they were really beginning to motor. They do look the best team in the tournament. I know they've only played twice, and we're always wary of saying one team is the best so early on after just 2 games. You talk about football World Cups in that regard, and you think back to some of those tournaments who's looked great at the beginning. They never go on to win the thing. But India have looked impressive. And they will argue they've got a ready-made replacement for Dhawan in KL Rahul, who can come in and open the batting and do exactly the same job. And of course, India can add another player in to the squad if Dhawan is injured and misses out for the rest of the tournament. And that man would probably be Rish Pant, and he'd be a very useful addition to their middle order. So India's still looking strong, but New Zealand is their toughest test so far. And we're now getting into a stage of games this week where we're basically trying to get 1.5 shots beaten. So Australia, Pakistan tomorrow. Australia are 1.5. We'd like to get them beaten by Pakistan at coming around 2-1. India at 1.5 again to beat New Zealand, and we're probably going to get on the Kiwis because we think there's room for their price in running, and we think we'll be able to get the New Zealand team get a foothold in that game because they're disciplined, they're efficient, they've got a decent fast bowling attack, and they've got a strong top order. So they should give India a few scares. The conditions should suit them. Although having said that, when the sides met previously in New Zealand, not long before this tournament started, New Zealand really weren't at the races. So the New Zealanders are going to have to improve their game in this World Cup clash on Thursday. So, but we'd expect them to do that. They seem to be very much on the money in this tournament and firing on all cylinders. And India and New Zealand are probably the top 2 sides we've seen so far. And you'll notice I'm not mentioning England.
And sorry, you said to get beat. So you predict that Pakistan there will beat Australia because obviously they lost to India there. Do you think Australia will be concerned? Do you think Pakistan will beat Australia on Wednesday?
I think Australia are a bad price at 1.5.
Yeah.
Their players have come back, Warner and Smith, and it was a bit tricky for us to sort of get our heads around because we've got used to the Australian team sort of getting their plans together with a group of players and under a new captain, and they won in India and then they won against Pakistan in the UAE. And then these two big players, Smith and Warner, came back, and we weren't really sure how that was going to affect them. But what seems to have happened is that they've just basically reverted to type when Smith and Warner were in the team, when they were basically a very ponderous batting unit. They don't have the acceleration required. They seem to be slow to strategize, to move players up the order to try and give them some impetus in terms of scoring runs. And that was the case when Smith and Warner were in the team after their World Cup win. That's why they've really struggled since their World Cup win. So they've reverted to type, and we're very, very happy to take them on at 1.5. Those are really poor odds on a limited batting unit in this era of fast scoring in ODI cricket.
Yeah. So are you taking Pakistan on the outrights there, price 3?
Yeah, I take Pakistan at about 3.0 on the exchanges and 2-1 on the high street. So I think that's a good bet. You don't really want to be betting Pakistan at any shorter than that, I think, in international cricket. That's a decent price about Pakistan considering what they can do. Yeah, look, we know they could be absolutely awful. We know that. So that's our comfort rub. That price is our comfort rub. We're happy to take them on at those prices. Safe in the knowledge that they could be brilliant or that they could be, well, awful. That is the deal with the devil when you're betting Pakistan.
But is that the best bet? I think comfort rug. Is that the best bet for that match, would you say?
I think so. There might be a bit of top bat value knocking around. If we can get Imam al-Haq around 7-2 to be top Pakistan run scorer. He is an old favourite of ours, and we know that price is too big. He should be going off much shorter. He should be going off favourite. Babar Azam will go off favourite. He shouldn't be the favourite in terms of how often these guys actually win this market. Imam al-Haq is probably, I think he's hitting it around 40%, and that's about, I think there are only 2 other players in the world who can come close to that hit rate for winning a top bat market. He's absolutely terrific at the moment, Imam. Australia, the market is tricky to sort of decipher really, apart from one fact. Don't bet Steve Smith to be the top Australia run scorer. I think he's copped once in the last 16, and he's going to be going off 100-30, maybe 7-2. Just don't get involved with him. He just doesn't win this market often enough. So that's a bet not to have, which can be as useful as
absolutely
1-2.
Absolutely. And just India, New Zealand, England, West Indies. Do you have you looked into these games? Do you have a lean or anything on those?
I think we'll get some room in New Zealand's price for a trade. I think they might be able to get a foothold in the game, and you might be able to maybe get some money back with India outsiders in that game. New Zealand could trade 1.8, 1.9. But England, looking at the prices as they are at the moment, 1.3. England, it's a terrible price, and we don't want to be betting.
Safety rug on that one, eh?
We don't want to be betting on those. But we'll probably back West Indies in that. We'll probably back West Indies just because we know what they're all about. We know they're one-dimensional, but we're happy to take 3-1 about West Indies winning that game because they could unsettle England, and they've got some very, very powerful hitters.
All right, fantastic stuff. So those are a couple of games there previewed for this week for Cricket World Cup. But for daily tips, daily match tips, Ed Hawkins writes for every single day over at oddsmarket.com cricket page there. Thanks for coming on. Best of luck, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks. See you soon.